So when I was 19 years old, I was in a place in my life that I would have never thought I'd be in. And I was lost. I was confused. I was sleeping on my friends' couches. Uh, I was bouncing around wherever I could use drugs at, wherever I could do whatever, live whatever lifestyle I wanted to live. I ran away from home. At that time, my parents had um my parents had called the cops on me and like tried to get me like sent to the psych ward. And I was like in the psych ward for a couple hours, and I was like figured out a way to like check myself out or whatever it was. But after that, I couldn't forgive them. I was just like mad, and but they were rightfully right. I was acting irrational. I was acting crazy. I was mad because I couldn't get drugs. Like they took away my money or took away my phone or something, and I wanted to like fight to like get my money. I just started acting crazy, and they weren't wrong for doing what they did. And I love my parents. I'm happy that they did that. And that spiraled to me running away from home, and then I was like first living at my drug dealer's house, then I was living at this kid's house, and me and this kid like traveled like and and did just dumb shit for like 2 months, and time flew by, and I was just like, bro, what the like where has time went? Like I remember like 2 months passed by, and I had been doing like Xanax and drinking every day and doing drugs every day, like smoking weed all day long and doing anything possible to obtain drugs, like scam, do, steal, whatever I had to do, I was doing it. And that's so sad to say out loud, but it's just true. And before this time, right, I'd been obviously getting caught by my parents doing drugs when I was like 18, and I was getting caught by them. And I remember one time specifically, I got caught by my dad or our mom like smoking weed in the basement or something. And I was smoking weed in the basement, and my dad caught me. He's like randomly just says like, I'm gonna bring you to a AA meeting, like you need help, like whatever. And he started bringing me AA meetings. He brought me like one, and I was like, during the meeting I was high, so I was just laughing at them. I don't even remember it, right? But then I was dead sober, and he brought me to another one. And he brought me to the one, and uh uh in the meeting, it was like in the hood. It was like in the most treacherous part of like New Jersey, North New Jersey. And he brought me to the meeting, and it was like a whole bunch of like people that looked like drug dealers and like trappers and stuff like that. They were just all older though. They looked like they were like maybe like pimps on the low, and he brought me there, and they were saying like a story that I just could not relate to. They were saying a life that I just could not relate to. They were saying things that I could not understand, like at all, from my perspective. They were saying they went to jail. They were saying that they were homeless. They were saying that they had did certain things for drugs that I just never had been in the place to do. And then fast forwarding to the time that I was at, like at 18, 19, at 19 years old, that like when I was stealing and everything, that's where I was. And it was like a shocker to be like, dang, I'm kind of doing everything that they said. And my one thing that I was saying was, I'm nothing like them. I'm nothing like them, because obviously I've never stolen for drugs, even though I'd steal from my parents to do drugs all the time. Like it was like normal, and that wasn't something that was new. I'd steal from my mom, steal from my dad, like money to just get candy when I was like 12 years old. So this is like not crazy, but I was jumping from friend's house to friend's house, whatever. And I was at this friend's house, and we used to do a lot of like mischievous bad things. And his parents lived in the house, and his dad knew like pretty much everything that we were doing, because he knew his son was doing bad things. And I was living at their house, and the dad didn't know I was living at their house. So like one day I like came downstairs like to brush my teeth or something, and then the dad saw me, and he's just like, why did I just see a grown man walk out of my bathroom and like act like he lives here? And I was like, oh, like he said I could stay the night or like something like that, whatever. So then he sits me down, and he like knows my parents. he sits me down and he says to me like these exact words. He says, "Son, right now you're stuck in the abyss." Like I told him a bit of like the story of like why I was using drugs and why I was like kicked out the house, or I said I was like kicked out. I said I left the house, and I told him this whole story of like where I was at, and he was just like, "Son, you're stuck in a place called the abyss. You know, you're stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're in a cycle. You just can't break it. You're just in a universe that you can't get out of." And he said, "You know, life passes by fast, man. You know, life will fly by you, and next thing you know, you'll wake up and you're 30 and you're smoking the same dope. You're doing the same things. You're chilling with the same type of girl. You're chilling with the same people on the same block, doing the same exact thing. And then you'll wake up and you'll say, 'Damn, what did I do with my life?' You know, that's one choice that you have. But today you have a whole nother choice. You have a whole nother choice of life that you could live. You could choose to live that life and be stuck living this life and be stuck addicted to drugs and be stuck stealing and robbing and being a scumbag and being a bad person. Or you could choose to do whatever you want to do in life. Be whoever you want to be. Thrive in every way in which you're supposed to thrive. Find out who you're supposed to be. And go and see what's out there for you. And see what God has in store for you. See who you're made to be." And I was like, whoa. You know, whoa. You could really just go find out who you're destined to be. Who you're supposed to be. Not this person that you're running from being. And the whole real truth of it all was that I was running from myself. I was running from who I was. I was running from the things I didn't like about myself, the person that I wanted to be, but I was too scared of being, the fears of not being accepted. And at first, you know, when you're getting high, when you're getting drunk, this is like fun. It was fun in the beginning. It was super duper fun. But then slowly but surely it just became depressing. Like this was like the most depressing thing in the world to do, because it took forever to get high. I started needing to do anything to get high, and the feeling in which it started to give me settled out. It went away, you know, and I wasn't there anymore. And slowly but surely I didn't feel anything when I got high, and it took more pills and more weed and stronger weed to get to the place where I would be in oblivion, where I didn't know what was going on and I couldn't feel anything. I was trying to numb away the world. And he was just telling me like who you are, who you want to be is on the other side of this. You know, you're a smart kid. You can do anything you want in the world. Anything you imagine to be, anything you want, you can have. And it was a shocker, you know, and I broke down in tears in front of the man. And he was like, politely, "I need you to get the fuck out of my house." That's one. So I did, right? And he was like, I hope you're on the right path, but I know you got to do what you got to do. And he knew what I had to do. I had to go sell the drugs that I had stole from like somebody. And I was just like, I couldn't stop, you know, I was just like, he said, go do what you have to do, but I know God has you. And I go and I do what I have to do. But that always stuck with me. And he said like one more other thing. He said like, you're on a highway to hell. Like you're going to die. You're going to die doing this. You're going to like, there's nothing that this ends up in other than jail or death. Like that's where you're going. This is the path, the first path I told you about. It's not going anywhere but jails or death. So he left me with that. And I was like, it really sat in my head, like strongly sat in my head. And I was just like, dang, that's wild. Like, you know, and I went on to go sell drugs somewhere. And then a couple things happened and I found myself again at step 0 for the most part. Like I had zeroed out again. I got robbed. I got everything taken from me, which was an occurrence that happened so many different times over this like couple months where I was out doing whatever I was doing. Uh, and uh, um, there's a couple things I'm obviously leaving out of the story, but um, I got to that ground zero again where it was, I had a choice. I had a choice if I would give up and I would go home and I would try to change my life and I would try to get sober, because I knew my parents would accept me if I tried to get sober, if I wanted something for myself, because at this point my parents gave up. It's like he has to want this for himself. He has to want to change. He has to want to be sober and change his life. Like when somebody's addicted to something, there's nothing you can almost do. It's just like you have to let it play out. And luckily my dad was an alcoholic and an addict and brought me to those AA meetings and planted that seed, and it's the seeds get planted, and everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And my life is a complete testament to that. But after that, I kind of had that in my mind of what he was saying, of how short kind of life is, and how life will fly by you if you don't take it if you take it for granted, and that day I was like on the bus, and I was going through a situation that I had seen before, and I knew what I had to do to get out the situation, which was like steal some more. And the whole thing of stealing and having to be this person that I wasn't, which was like stealing, robbing, whatever this is, like committing crimes, it took so much out of me that I like had to be high, and I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror sober. I couldn't see that person because I was just so sick of myself. I just hated myself. And I knew, sitting on like a Greyhound bus going towards New York City, that it's either I could go to like Manhattan and I could like go catch a guy that's selling drugs and run off on him or something crazy, or I could call my mom and be like, Mom, I have to come home. Like this is the worst I've ever been, and I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't know if I was really going to do that. I don't know if I really was ready to do that and change my life and this whole nine and be at where I'm at today. I don't think I was ready for it. But something in me said I'm done. Like literally something in me said I'm done. Like I'm not going to go and die. I'm not going to go and risk my life some more. And I didn't make the change right away, but I said, I'm going to try to get sober. Like when I got into the next day, I said, I'm going to try to get sober. Like I'm going to try to do something different with my life. I have to, I have to.